Hey friends, so you're ready to write an offer, but you do not know what's next. Well, you are in luck because I thought through what are the next steps? What do I do after I write an offer as a real estate agent? And I wrote it out in the notes in my phone and I printed it off for you guys. So I'm gonna give you the whole lowdown. If you are a brand new agent or a not necessarily brand new, but wanna get your systems in place agent, this is for you. Be sure to stay tuned until the very end. You are not going to want to miss anything today because the very last point, number 12, that we're going to be looking through is not probably what you're expecting, but it's very, very important and it's not something you want to drop the ball on. So don't go anywhere today. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Mariah. I've been a real estate agent since 2015. A couple years after getting licensed, my husband quit his job and joined me. We've been a real estate team ever since. And now a big part of my business is getting to chat with and help and mentor agents through my brokerage, which I'm so grateful for and I love so much, Real Broker. If you're like, what is that? I have an entire playlist on my channel called Real Broker Explained. You can find that over there, but this video is not about Real Broker. So no matter what brokerage you're with, this applies to you. And by the way, before we get into it real quick, if you would like this checklist to be emailed to you in step-by-step form, like in an email template, if that makes sense, in a file so that you can print it out, keep it on your desk, and refer to it whenever you need it, shoot me an email with the words offer checklist. You can just say that, I'll know what you're talking about. My email is in the description and I will be sure to have it sent right over to you. So you just showed a house and your buyers are wanting to write an offer. The first thing I will say, this actually isn't on my checklist, but this is before the checklist, is this. You're gonna have to ask the buyer a handful of questions that are going to determine what you're going to actually put on the sale agreement, like the offer that you're writing. So those questions are things like, what are you going to put down for your earnest money deposit? What do you want to offer for the price? What's your loan type? You probably should already know that, but just to clarify, are both of your names going to be on the title? If it's a couple, are both your names on the title or just one of you? There's a whole handful of questions. Sorry guys, I'm looking at my computer right now, Lynn. There is a whole handful of questions that you're going to want to ask. And my biggest piece of advice for this would be write those questions out. Think through what are all the questions I need. Like as you're reading the offer, be like, okay, what are all the questions I'm going to need to ask the buyers in order to know what to write in the offer? And write those questions out in the notes in your phone. Save it as a little template. Title it at the top so you know you can search for it and find it if that makes sense. And then that's an easy system for you. Every time you're done showing a house, the buyer wants to make an offer or shows interest in making an offer, you can tell them before you leave the house, hey guys, so there's going to be a handful of questions I'm going to need answered from you guys before we can get this offer written up. Things like, how much do you want to put down for your earnest money deposit? That type of thing. So I'm going to send you a text message with all these questions. You two think it over and then let me know. Just get back to me when you can with the answers to those questions and I can start writing the offer up right away. That's exactly what I say. I leave this checklist of questions for the buyers in the notes in my phone. That way I can just copy and paste it and text it to them every single time my buyers want to write an offer, and it is golden. So that's the first step. That's like an extra little free piece of advice. That is before we even get into the checklist, you guys. So moving right on, first thing you're gonna do besides that, before you write an offer, is you are gonna call the listing agent. Yes, you are. You are gonna call the listing agent before you even write an offer. You're gonna ask them, are there any other offers on the table? Do you guys have any other offers currently? Are we the only ones right now? That's an important question to know. You're also going to ask the listing agent, what terms are most important to the seller? Does the seller care more about having a super quick closing, or do they want closing to be a little bit longer? Do they care about what is most important to them as far as all the terms go? That is going to help you determine how to write the best offer possible to give you the highest chances of your offer getting accepted, besides just raising the price, of course. So ask them, what is most important to the sellers? So you've texted the buyers your list of questions that you copy and pasted from the notes in your phone, because you've got a template in there that you keep that is just systemized, all of that. And you got the answers back from them. You have called the listing agent. You've digged a little bit. They legally can't tell you what the other offers are at. If they have other offers, they legally can't tell you how much the seller's willing to take, but you can do a little digging, you know what I'm saying? You can get a feel for how motivated the sellers are. Do your best. Do your best. Navigating? No. What's the right word? Investigating. That's the word. Do your best investigating, okay? And then after that, you're going to write your offer. Your offer's written up. Okay, next, you're going to send your offer over to the listing agent and include the buyer's pre-approval. Be sure to call or text the listing agent once the offer is in their email inbox, once it's sent, because you would be surprised how often agents either just like somehow miss the email with the offer in their email, or maybe for some reason they didn't get it and then another offer comes in and you miss out. So like always let the listing agent know. Call them before you write the offer, but always tell them once the offer's sent as well. Just let them know and be like, hey, just please confirm receipt. Thank you. And always be really kind to the listing agent. Always be super, super kind and easy to work with. I have literally had instances where there were two offers that were exactly the same and the listing agent chose my offer because it was me. Not saying this in like a... And they knew me. They knew I was going to be easy to work with. They didn't know the other agent, or maybe the other agent had a reputation for being not so great to work with. So always just be kind and be easy to work with, because there are instances where there's going to be multiple offers that are very, very similar, and literally who the listing agent is can make a difference in whose offer gets accepted. So always build rapport with the listing agent. Okay, the next thing you're gonna do, number 3, send your offer to your transaction coordinator if you have one, and ask them to send the documents to be filed for you. Number 4, send your offer to the title company and the listing agent, the title company that you and the listing agent agreed upon, or should I say the buyers and the sellers agreed upon. It's more their decision, but you do have a voice in it. In the title of this email, you can just say, open escrow - new transaction on 123 Main Street, or wherever your transaction is at. Number 5, send your offer that was accepted to the buyer's lender. They've always got to be in the loop. You got to be keeping them updated. You're going to want to send the accepted offer to the buyer's lender and let them know that your offer was accepted. Number 6 is contact a home inspector and get the inspections on the schedule. The sooner the better, since time is of the essence here. Unless stated differently in the contract, you will have 10 business days starting the day your offer is accepted to get all inspections done and negotiate repairs. I would suggest trying out a handful of inspectors until you find one that is great. And a great inspector is someone who has great communication skills, that builds rapport with the buyers. I'm telling you, like, the inspectors all do very similar things when it comes to inspecting the home, but finding one who is going to communicate and over communicate with the buyers and just be super, super kind and friendly with the buyers makes such a difference. We worked with so many different inspectors until we found one that we're like, this guy is it. And I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. It's so easy to work with the same person over and over. You got their back, they got yours. And it's nice finding someone who your buyers are always super happy with and grateful that you connected them to. So yes, it'll take some trial and error before you find your inspector, like the one who's so solid, but just keep trying until you find one. Communication is really important when it comes to a lender, a good lender, and a good inspector. If you want all parties to stay happy, especially your buyer clients, finding inspectors and lenders who are very communicative with them is going to make a big difference. Number 7, the listing agent should be sending you property disclosures at this point. This is basically just a list of questions that the seller has to answer as honestly as possible to the best of their knowledge. The buyer gets this document signed once the listing agent sends it over to you. It usually happens within 3 days of your offer being accepted. Step number 8 is show up to the inspection. Let the buyers know they are welcome to come, but they don't have to if they're not able to. After the inspection, you should get a report back within a few business days. Tell your buyers this, of course, up front, so they're not expecting a report the second the inspection is over. Communication is always really, really important, and just setting proper expectations with our clients is super, super important. Step number 9 is read through the inspection report. Read through it out loud multiple times, read through it, get to know it. At this point, I always tell my buyers, I say, hey, buyers, read through the inspection report thoroughly, and then after you've read through it, give me a call letting me know what you think. If they need any further clarification at this point, I do point them to the inspector. I say, hey, call the inspector if you need explaining, because legally there's a lot of gray areas here. We are licensed realtors, not licensed inspectors. Yes, we can give a little bit of advice, whatever, but like we're not trying to do their job. Legally, there's a lot of things we actually can't do when it comes to that. So I always say, if you want more explanation, you call the inspector, and of course they do. However, I, as a realtor, can tell them what things I think we should ask for if they want help there. I pretty much always ask the seller on our inspection repair addendum. I always ask the seller to do any repairs for my buyer that are red, in the red zone. And on an inspection report, the red zone basically just means the things that are a hazard or will or could be a hazard soon. Those are the things that I really make sure that we ask for. Other than that, I just leave it up to the buyers. Of course, it's always up to them. But besides the things that are a hazard, I kind of just let the buyers decide what's important to them and what isn't. Step 10, once repairs are negotiated, we wait for the lender to call and say we are ready to schedule the appraiser. I always let the buyer know there's a lot of waiting at this point on their end at this point in the transaction, but I do still stay in touch with them and give them updates and let them know everything I know that's going on in the transaction. Even if it's just the update is there's really no update, things are still going well, just wanted to touch base and say, hey, that's it. Like, always be keeping in communication with you, because what happens with clients, this is true with buyers and sellers, is if they don't hear from their agent for a while, they assume their agent is just laying on the beach or just not working for them, doesn't have their best interest in mind. They assume that you forgot about them. They don't know there's a lot of behind the scenes things happening, and they don't necessarily know that there is a lot of waiting throughout this process, and there is a lot of time where, yes, the agent's waiting too. I don't really have any new updates for them, but we're still gonna touch base because communication is so important. Even when the only news is that there is no news, we always communicate. When I have seen transactions fall through, whether it is with a buyer or a seller in the past, I can, most of the time, like honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's due to communication, lack of communication, or them thinking there's lack of communication, even though it's really just like, it's crickets over here in this transaction. There's nothing going on. There's no new updates for you. So I have learned the hard way to always over communicate and tell my clients, call my clients weekly, even if there is no real update, I'm going to be staying in touch with them. Over communication is always better. You're never bothering them. You're the realtor. You're never bothering them. They want to hear from you. Okay. With the slight exception of like very few personality types, they want to hear from you. So always assume that. Always assume that if they go more than a week without hearing from you, whether there's an update to tell them or not, they're thinking you're not working anymore, you're just out of the office, and they're assuming you're not doing your job. That's just what happens. Step 11 is I try and attend every closing, and I let the buyers know that at 5:00 p.m. on the day that we close, unless stated differently in the contract, they will get possession of the home. This is when I schedule to meet them at the house to deliver keys and leave a handwritten thank you note as a gift. There are many cool closing gifts that you could do, but I personally always just give most of the time, I always just give a $100 gift card, a nice, thoughtful handwritten thank you note, and some flowers from Trader Joe's, because it's extremely simple and easy to repeat over and over and over. I know there's lots of agents that use these cool, customized things they do. There's so many creative things you can do. I'm not really a gift person, and I'm not really like a creative gift person by any means. So I do something simple and systemizable and repeatable. And you know what? My clients are always happy to have a $100 Home Depot gift card for their brand new home. That's usually I do Home Depot, sometimes Starbucks. Like, I keep it so generic and simple, okay? I know there's a lot of people that say you should customize your closing gifts and they'll feel like you just extra special because you got them something that they mentioned at a showing that they like or are into. I don't have time for that, okay? We keep things simple around here. Do you do what you want? Okay, so step number 12. This is the last step that it is so easy to forget to do, but it's very, very important in the life of your business, and that is, after closing, check in on them every now and then to see how they're doing. You could call, text, email, and just ask, how's everything going in the new house? Are you guys still loving it? I hope you're still loving it, whatever you want to say. Add them on all your social media platforms and comment on their posts. Celebrate with them as they reach milestones in their life. Stay connected with them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And also, add them to your CRM system. Add them to your CRM system and let them get, monthly newsletters from you that are pre-made templates, or I don't know, every few months, let them get some sort of like a home maintenance tip, whatever. There's so many things you can do as far as drip campaigns go. I personally am not an expert at this. I wish I could be more help here. I'm not. Everything I've learned from my CRM system has come through painfully watching YouTube videos about it, and that's a great way to learn. My CRM system is Lofty, and I highly recommend it. I have a couple videos about Lofty if you want more information on it. But add them to your CRM system and stay in touch consistently. Put them on a drip email campaign at the very least. And I always like to schedule flowers to be sent to their house on 6-month anniversaries and 1-year anniversaries. You can literally just call, just Google like flower delivery near me, near your town. Just Google it and you can call them. You can look at your recent client anniversary, your recent past client anniversaries, if you have it kept in a spreadsheet, or I just keep mine in the notes in my phone or in a template in my computer. If you just pull that up, you can see, okay, what past client anniversaries are coming up next month. You can just call the flower delivery place and just schedule them all at once, or you can do it over a website usually. You do some Googling and figure out what's near you, but that is a really great, easy, streamlinable, systemizable thing that you can do. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you grab value from today's video, hit the thumbs up button, share it with a friend that might be interested. And last but not least, I have a Facebook group that you might be interested in. I have found a lot of value from Facebook groups personally. I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge and insight and ideas. I have even gained some really awesome clients and closings from Facebook groups, from networking in Facebook groups. Basically just answering the questions that people ask on them and just collaborating and networking in them where I can. So I have a Facebook group for you if you are interested. It is in the link below if you would like to request to join it. I'll try to link it in the description if I remember. If not, shoot me an email. Email's in the description and I'll send you an invite. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.